Alright guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Bat Joey here, and today we're talking about the Lord of the Rings Gollum. So, what is Lord of the Rings Gollum? Announced in March of 2019, Lord of the Rings Gollum is an action-adventure game from Daedalic Entertainment, a German studio famous for making point-and-click adventure games, their most popular output being the Deponia series. You may have also heard of some of the games they've published recently, including Shadow Tactics, Blaze of the Shogun, and 2018 State of Mind. Daedalic inked a deal with Middle-earth Enterprises to work on this project, which means that the game will draw from the books and not from the movies. There's also been some suggestion that there may be more to come after Lord of the Rings Gollum. So what about the release date and platforms? Initially being confirmed for a 2021 release date on PC and all relevant consoles, Lord of the Rings Gollum has since been confirmed to be a next-gen title, which means it will launch on Xbox Series X and PS5 when the game solidifies its launch window. Moving on, Lord of the Rings Gollum described as a Prince of Persia-like stealth-based game. The upcoming Lord of the Rings Gollum game will feature gameplay similar to the Prince of Persia franchise, according to lead designer Martin Wilkes. Lord of the Rings Gollum seeks to expand on the series on the story of the eponymous character, specifically after he was corrupted by the One Ring of Power. However, the game will draw influence from another series when it comes to gameplay. Gollum lead designer Martin Wilkes described the gameplay experience, which will be a mix of stealth and parkour elements. Wilkes said in an interview with IGN, quote, "If you want a reference, you might think of it as similar to Prince of Persia. It is mostly a non-combat game, but Gollum will be able to stealthily take out enemies. However, this will not be easy and always come with big risks. We want players to carefully weigh these encounters. After all, Gollum's strengths lie in cunning and not combat." Wilkes also said that Gollum will be able to throw objects to distract enemies and gain help from quote-unquote special allies during the course of the game. When asked if those allies would be well-known characters from the Middle-earth universe, lead narrative designer Tillman Shannon hinted at such a possibility. Shannon also said that the game would have a branching narrative based on decisions the player makes as Smeagol or Gollum. But then, will Lord of the Rings Gollum be mostly non-combat? No real surprises here, but Daedalic's Lord of the Rings Gollum game isn't going to end with Smeagol sitting atop a pile of bodies. The feeble, frail Gollum isn't going to murder every orc in Middle-earth in pursuit of his precious. IGN talked with Daedalic recently about exactly what kind of game Gollum aims to be. The game mixes stealth with vertical climbing parkour. Gollum has the ability to stealthily dispose of enemies, but it sounds like his underwhelming stature will come into play. As for the structure of Gollum, Daedalic has landed on something that's best described as a series of levels and hubs. Gollum will arrive in a new area, and then it's up to the player to open up all the locations within the new level. It's a lot of puzzle solving and pathfinding, and sometimes there are multiple ways to accomplish the same goal. The developer states the obvious by saying the two sides have conflicting goals, but was unwilling to talk about how choices affect what plays out. Lord of the Rings Gollum is scheduled to arrive this year, but we're yet to see any gameplay. Moving on, when will the game take place? Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter, Daedalic explained that the game will take place in the years following Gollum's acquisition of the One Ring, meaning that it is set prior to the events of The Lord of the Rings. They say, quote, "Everything that happens to him before he appears in the book are the main things we will see in our game." The game was then subject to a world-exclusive preview in Edge magazine in January, which revealed some more details about the story. The game will kick off in Barad-dûr, a mortar fortress where the creatures being kept against his will, but the developers assured that there will be other, quote, "giant persistent environments," end quote, to explore beyond the initial setting. This means there will be most likely some kind of prison break element to the game. Though beyond Mordor, we could meet up with a variety of Lord of the Rings characters in the preface to the novella's main storyline. It's a clever time frame to set the game, as it affords Daedalic a lot of creative freedom to dive into the more murky bits of lore that Tolkien didn't dwell too heavily on. And in the last segment in today's video, we prepared a list of what players would potentially want to see in Lord of the Rings Gollum. First off, stealth mechanics that require genuine player intelligence. Despite the plethora of games over the years that feature stealth mechanics, their implementation still seems to be quite a hit or miss. One common theme in successful stealth games like Hitman Blood Money and Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Chaos Theory is that they require the player to use their intuition and utilize the in-game environment to their benefit. Gollum proves throughout the books and films that he can be ingenious when he puts his mind to it. Therefore, it would be disappointing if the upcoming game has bland or run-of-the-mill mechanics, as they appear to be the the game's main feature. Next up, an open world. Open worlds are mainstay in most AAA adventure titles today, but they are by no means essential. In fact, an open world that has been forced into a game can end up harming it, as weak side quests can deter from what could have been an excellent linear game. With that being said, the idea of an open world set in Tolkien's Middle-earth is far too tantalizing to not hope for. Tolkien's main Middle-earth books have created an incredibly imaginative open world that is begging to be explored in video game form. The chances of The Lord of the Rings fulfilling fans' wishes of having a Skyrim-like world are slim, but even a small section of explorable Middle-earth would be very welcome. Moving on, more characters. Lord of the Rings Gollum is set sometime between when Gollum finds the One Ring and the events of The Lord of the Rings. This large time period offers the Dalek Entertainment the chance to include more of Tolkien's charismatic characters into the game's story. Throwing characters into the story for the sake of it would be a mistake, of course. However, if the developers can find ways to include a few pleasant surprises along the way, it would surely be among the game's highlights. Currently, the Nazgul and Thranduil have been confirmed to be appearing in the game. Thranduil, for those who don't know, is the father of Orlando Bloom's fan-favorite character Legolas. And last but not least, a canon story. Although a canon story risks winding up or even angering the many diehard Tolkien fans, it's a risk worth taking. A canon backstory of Smeagol's downfall to Gollum could be fascinating and intriguingly horrifying if done well. There are plenty of benefits of a non-canon story, as it allows the developers freedom to create their own story without limitations, whereas keeping to canon cannot only be time-consuming research-wise, but also very restricting. Despite this, the idea of a canon story will appeal far more to casual fans of Lord of the Rings and will almost certainly help sales, increasing the chance of more Lord of the Rings releases. Alright guys, here's what we know about Lord of the Rings Gollum. Let us know what you think in the comments down below, and as always, make sure you subscribe for more daily videos like this one, and drop us a like to support the channel. Catch you in the next one. Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Bad Joey here, and today we're talking about video games that got us through 2020. The pandemic created one of the most unusual years for gaming, but also one of the most lucrative ones. As the movie and music industries hit pause over coronavirus concerns, video games kept chugging along, proving the industry's resilience. For some, gaming was a lifeline to normalcy, while others used the medium as an escape when the world got too real. Whatever the case, gaming was a rock for many in 2020. It kept many of us sane in a rough year. The life-altering pandemic amplified the importance of some projects. Other efforts were negatively impacted by the coronavirus as studios struggled to figure out the work-from-home scenario. Several games were released with bugs that required hotfixes and other emergency work. So here is the list of the top video games that got us through these hard times. At number 1, we have Ghost of Tsushima. For years, Sucker Punch Productions was